Oh, some notes I was writing and shit. My bad. I'm high as a bitch right now. But look, let's talk about some shit. All right, so boom. I guess I didn't complete this for some reason. So hopefully, because this is like 2021, I think, dealing with Niagara Falls. Feel me? So I'm gonna just read it how I got it written out, and then try to pick up from it. Facts. So look, the truth behind it. Niagara Falls. Oh, alright, so Jesus, Jesus, Zeus, Satan, Jacob, Yaakov, Israel, Satan, Amen, Owen, on a man, Ray, Son, God, right? So look, they had to use a name plus the energy. You feel me? So look, the Greek worship, hold on, they had to use a name harnessing the energy of what? The sun, right? So let me read that again. Jesus, Jesus, Satan, Zeus. Boom. Amen. Among, Ray, son. So it's kind of like magic, bro. You gotta harness energy, right? And then you're putting that name behind that energy. But the thing is, when you got millions of people participating under a name or a holiday and shit, you're 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 harnessing the energy. Well, they're harnessing pretty much your energy because when you're harnessing the sun energy, you're harnessing what's connected to it, right? It's a manipulation of atoms. So look, I don't know where this is going because I ain't proofread this shit. So let's get it. You know, if you can see it. This is the Greek worship in sanctuaries located according to nature of the particular deity, either within either within the city or in the countryside. Sacrifices took place within sanctuaries. It took place inside sanctuaries, usually an altar in front of a temple. Sacrifices took within the sanctuaries, usually in front of a temple, with the assembled participants consuming the entrails and meat of victims. So cannibalism, right? So how did they do it? In sacrifice to the gods, the upper world, only certain portions were burned to the gods, such as thigh bones or chine bones out of the victims, some of the entrails or some pieces of flesh with a layer of fat rolled around, hold together libations of wine and oil, frankincense, and sacrificial cakes. The Olympics were a religious festival with sacrifices to the gods and meat for the men. On the third day of the games, a great sacrifice took place on this altar. Hecatombe. 100 oxen were killed in the presence of the athletes. Hella, I don't even want to say that wrong. I don't know if you. It's a Hellenodike Kai and spectators. So it's something about Niagara Falls, bro. So Because Niagara Falls might actually be part of a delta. And low key, something I noticed about Austin Powers was Austin Powers on Doctor Evil. He revealed all of the bases. Like, let me see if I can find something real quick. Cause, cause the thing is, the bases like when you're manipulating energy, right? You got some above, but then you have to have some below, right? To deal with the atom in the middle. So peep game got them. So the thing is, deltas, right, represents denoting a new energy. So when you see that delta, it looks like a recycling, like the recycler symbol with the water, right? Or the trash. I mean, yeah, it looks like the recycler symbol with the trash. That's a delta. It's a pyramid with a cycle, right? Meaning it's denoting an energy cycle, right? Denoting energy and proceeds in different directions along the cycle. So when you look at the land masses, it's going to deal with water, fire, air, and kai on the land. But these land masses deal with delta. They got delta land masses. If you look at a volcano, that's a delta. If you look at a in the water, when you see the ice in the storm, those are pyramids under that bitch. That's why it's spinning like that. That's the only way it's gonna spin unless it had a hole in it. Because it's a delta is generating energy. So when it's generating energy from above, because it's connected to the sun by the UV. So like the higher the UV, the more it reaches, it heats up, it connects to whatever is part of its coordinates, because it's sacred. Like when they said the Egyptians did the sacred, uh, they believed in sacred geometry and frequency. That's dealing with the measurement of time. It's the only reason it was able to align with the down with the sun and the way it rotates on its axis, dealing with the cycle period of the stars, right? Because so above, so below, right? That's why I really mix a diamond. Like a triangle is just half of the equation, right? It deals with another part of it, a higher self and a lower self, and then it keeps connecting itself like that. You feel me? So it makes a chain, just like your DNA. So look, let's see if we can find examples of what I was just saying. Because like volcanoes can be used as bases, mountains, um, delta land masses, like you see on your coastal lines. It has like a triangle type thing. That's the areas that's going to get flooded. So, and then when you're dealing with the air, it has its own cycle. Like you just can't fly. Like the air has its own cycle. It looks like the two fishes or the 6 9. That's what Cancer represents with the water, a cycle, like the 6 9 cycle, because the 6 9 cycle is the air and the water. No shit, OD. That's what the water the water symbols in the zodiac represents, like the air and the water cycle. That's why they use Pisces with the moon, with the two fishes, the yin and the yang, because that's the yin and the yang. I mean, it's showing you how the dark and light energy work together. Feel me? For a balance in between the X. So I'm tripping. Just over here chatting. Doctor Evil. Uh, hide. Like he always had underground type bases.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ladies and gentlemen,
Somewhere
welcome to
outside
my
Las Vegas
underground lair.
or
I
Arizona.
have gathered here before me the world's deadliest
you see what I
assassins,
mean, bro?
and yet each of you has failed to.
Let's see what he says. Cause when I was a kid,
Ladies and
this
gentlemen,
man
welcome
says
to
we
my underground lair. I have gathered here before me the world's deadliest assassins, and yet each of you has failed to kill Austin Powers. That makes me angry. And when Dr. Evil gets angry, Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset. And when Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset, people die! Why must I be surrounded by idiots?
Who do them people look like?
Die! Why must I be surrounded by freaking idiots?
Idiots. What does idiot mean in a Black Law dictionary? Idiot means in Black Law dictionary. What does idiot mean in Black Law dictionary? A person who has been without understanding from his nativity and whom the law therefore presumes never likely to attain any. See insanity. So a person with especially a profound intellectual disability, Well, the term idiot, imbecile, or moron survive in many state codes and statutes. They are generally no longer used in both medical and legal contexts. Since when? Idiot, from the Greek idios, means private or one's own. It's the oldest of these words and has been in the continual use since the 14th century, dealing with the 14th Amendment. Over the years, idiot has taken on a number of meanings ranging from an ignorant or unschooled person to gesture, professional fools to stempli of rent and fame. U.S. history. Any code of law defined and especially limited the rights of formerly enslaved African Americans in the period immediately following the Civil War, meaning that you're POWs and you're not an idiot for not knowing anything about where you come from, but at the same time, it kind of makes you an idiot because really you're private, like you're talking about us. Is you have a right to be a private citizen. For me. But anyways, I don't even know how we got back on that. Or how we got on that. Or how I got on that. But look, let's get back to the Niagara Falls. Dealing with sacrifices and rituals. because this is how they manipulate energy like daily through us. Because it's like participating in a ritual, not knowing. Like it's different when you know you're doing it. Like is is manipulating you. It even manipulates nature that way. Like well, it really ain't no more, but unless it's like with the air, because the air deals with the atoms and dealing with the ground because the ground deals with atoms too. It's just you're in the middle of that whole cycle, like the pyramid coming down and the pyramid coming up. You're the X in between that light and dark energy. So finding self and knowing self is knowing that you're the energy between the light and darkness. If you can just find a balance inside yourself, and I mean it takes time because really you have to be doing it going through the cycles because that's why you can't just start some shit for 3 months and then stop thinking you did some shit. Like you have it's 360 shit, so you have to go around the 360 in that consciousness. Like really, like fasting or something, it should be a 360-day thing, not no 30 days. Like you're tripping. You need 360 days to get back to normal. Like if it, I'm not advising nobody. I mean, really, actually, that's straight because really, that's supposed to how you supposed to eat. Like, I was eating straight fruit, right? Just only fruit. I didn't want to eat no meat. And then, like, I was disgusted and thinking about shit. But as I was not doing it, I was seeing why I wasn't doing it. So it made sense. But really, it's because I saw the timeline. So when I saw the timeline, nigga, it changed everything. So like, cause timeline is your Akashic records. Because the Akashic records is the cycle, right? And these years is actually that hurts. So if you wanted to time travel and tap into the frequency of that time, because time is the measurement using hertz and degrees around the 360, right? So if you wanted to tap into like the 1800s, you'll have to tap into the 5D frequency, which is like 1800 hertz. You feel me? Because as it goes around the circle or the 360, it rises into another energy. So really, since 2017, this shit been rising. Like I don't know. Like me, I be saying, I feel like the 7 year tribulation started 2017, while everyone else is saying 2000 and 21 or 2020, 2019 going into 2020. I highly believe it was um 2017 because 2 more years will actually equal 9, and dealing with a cycle. Um, hold on, because I peeped something. It's like when you go 9 years back, there's always a significant date of something that happened dealing with a cycle, right? But really, I realized it was 27 years because 27 years is 3 sets of 9, but that's always a transitional period. Every 27 years is a transitional period to the rebirth of new energy. So the thing about this 369 thing, it's a cycle within a cycle within a cycle within a cycle within a cycle, about 9 to 12. Feel me? But when those cycles have two parallels, three alternates, and four states of it, it creates more, right? So it always creates energy, right? Will not create energy. It gives like some of itself. Yeah, pretty much create energy, bro. It's like uh when a woman and a man come together and make a baby, it gives some of itself and some from each other and create a new energy from that. Feel me? So that being said, that ties to the energy that they harness because that cycle is you. You're the energy between the light and darkness. Higher self, lower self, the left and the right, the A plus B, the alpha beta. That's what it's the alpha beta. A B alpha beta A B, but you have to have both. You have to have A and B aligned with each other, like how you see with the blue Kachina and the red sun. Feel me? Because what happens is that goes into UV, uh, delta, the purple UV. Purple is crown state. So that deals. The thing is, when you're in a crown state, you realize your connection. But the thing about your connection is you're always been connected. That's the only way manifestation even manifests. Because these atoms all around you are the cells, right? They're cells of your body. So when people say, when you're harming nature, they're harming us, that is not a lie. Because it's literally part of your body. Like, that's like, wow. That's why, like, grounding and breath work generates energy. Because now you're dealing with the blood of the air and the blood of the body, which is representing Shu and representing Tough Nut, dealing with Ra, the sun, right? Because that's the Trinity, right? It's dealing with a cycle, right? Above and below. But it interrupts you because you're actually connected to them, to that, because the atom is a cell, right? So say if these cells outside of you or these atoms, right, that's floating around, they look like little neuron stars, little rainbows, right? Like if you focus your eyes, just look up, you kind of see little speckles. It's like debris. It's like, and debris comes from what? Fire, from embers. It's like, yeah, it's like floating embers, rainbow embers. But look, the thing about the V2 charge, it deals with 2000 hertz. I keep saying this shit for a reason. Like, it's gonna stick one day. I mean, it's gonna click if you have it. But it's 2000 hertz around. So I got a short and it got a little. I deleted four of them, but yeah, I deleted. They didn't delete it. I deleted it because it was getting buffered. But on one of them videos, I showed the cycle and the hertz, the levels of it. Like I could rewrite it down if I had to, but it's dead ass levels that's coming off the sun and it's representing that year. So say like 4D, it was sending frequencies that were aligned to the body and the chakras. And as it went up, actually, as it went up 144, no, 1440 hertz was actually 4D. So since then, we've been on a escalating rise, for real, for real. But as the frequency was hitting, it matched up a timeline during that time. So a lot of people who tapped in, or a lot of people who didn't even remember their dreams, like, because when you don't really remember your dreams, like photographic wise, it becomes intuition. Like, because literally you be dreaming a lot, like all the time. Like 8 hours in space time is way longer. It's pretty much like how your days be here, type shit. So it's like, so when it's dealing with, I'm just everywhere. Hold on, bro. I forgot I was talking about Niagara Falls. Yeah, all right. So the 2000 hertz, right? Say Sarco V2. That V2 stands for 2 megahertz. That two, a charge, because the rainbow debris looking atoms that you see, that's dealing with solar energy within, like little charges. Those are like neutron stars. So that's like a star that you see. That's like Nibiru, pretty much, or like the sun that's beside the sun, but you can't really see it, but it has like a little aura that you can see. That's pretty much like an atom, a neutron star, and the ether is pretty much a black hole, because what does the sun do when it transforms into its next state? It either, when it supernovas, it either turns into a black hole or a neutron star. So say the ether is like the dealing with the black hole, because that's actually Planet X. So that's why they acting so scary right now, because that's actually Planet X. It's like Wakanda type shit. You couldn't see it, but the whole time it was a beautiful city within that energy. Right? That's the sun is a planet, for real. For real. Well, really is like a portal. It's really all of that. Just like this planet is. Like, we live on a star. So it's like still a planet, still a portal. But like Sirius is a portal. That's why we're becoming a quadruple solar system, and that deals with your tetracovalent bonds, right? Because it's really three that generates uh, the carbon, the six. And as we stepping into 6D, six ether genetics will be activated. So that deals with a shift, right? That deals with a shift. Just because of the energy. Like the D stands for delta also, so that means denoting new energy, right? So then that ties into sixth dimension, because dimension is just another word for time, which is energy, right? So you actually have something in medical that deals with your tetracovalent bonds and bond dissociation, and that's the capital letter D, also representing delta. It got so many meanings. It even has business meanings for changing the underlying asset. Because really everything they're doing is something called a hedging method, right? It's like to see who can get the most coins, like Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyway, back on this sacrifice thing, because we explain energy, atoms, and how it's connected to you. So this is how the magic work when you're tied to these names and uplifting it, and not even uplifting yourself. Because if you're not uplifting yourself, then most likely energy is controlling you and is causing a lot of anxiety within, which is a blockage from your intuition or a block is a blockness to your awareness. So when signals is trying to come in, it triggers a whole nother frequency in you, a lower frequency. So let me just read what this was because I didn't mean to be on here this long. So to keep the gods happy, yeah, to keep the gods happy, animals were sacrificed and killed as offerings. Animals, bulls, sheep, and pigs. They worshipped the gods in the temples where they made sacrifices of animals and precious things. The Romans believed that blood sacrifices were the best way to communicate with the gods, right? Because they really was copying like ancient ways, but they was using it for witchcraft. So when it comes to them and whatever's tied to their shit, then is dealing with witchcraft and is harnessing your energy. Not to be fear mongering, it's just awareness. So the Greek animal, oxen, goats, and sheep sacrifices took place within the sanctuary. Usually an altar in front of the people within the symbol participants consuming the entrails and the meats of the victims. The meats of the victims, liquid offerings or libations. So you know how they be drinking blood and adrenochrome from the babies and shit. Like you don't have to do all of that. I You just be natural. Feel me? Like I don't condone none of that shit. I'm just saying, bro. I really don't. But anyways, Greece and Rome, animal sacrifice were performed as ritual to communicate with the gods, heroes, and other divine beings. You know why I say I don't condone in that? Because I didn't have to do none of that to do that. You feel me? So for me to think that I have to do that to do what I was already doing must be a goddamn fool. So look, such rituals were meant to as the divine recipients for favors, right? Such rituals were meant to ask the divine recipients for favors, protection, and help to appease them. At the same time, I can see how blood could be kind of like healing though, because it has the cells in them. But like like that's starting to make sense now, because they be wanting the purest blood. But like, because like who would want to drink something that might have an infection in it? So they will want something pure, because when your blood is actually pure, what happens is self rejuvenate. Sheesh. So that's why they want. That's why they want this shit. God damn. They some vampires for real, bro. Look, from different animals to people were being sacrificed to these deities. What sacrifice were made to Artemis? Artemis. In the early times, human sacrifice had been offered to Artemis. I hope I'm saying it right. Greeks received sacrifices to Olympia. So, hold on. I think I read it backwards. I don't even know why I wrote it like that. Mm, well, talking about Zeus, because I don't know. I'm going to just read what I have just right now. Because whatever download I was picking up in like 2021, it had something to do with Zeus, these sacrifices, and Niagara Falls. And Niagara Falls just seemed like a secret lair, like Dr. Evil would have, messing with the Austin Powers. And Austin Powers, He represent the hippie rainbow type of guy, fighting people in UK and all over the world. In UK, doing time traveling. Like, shout out to Mike Myers. He probably had to like do some shit, but still, he he put out some truth now that I see, and I think I'm gonna roll up a little bit and watch Austin Powers. Like, just have a little marathon within myself, because I used to watch it as a kid. That's funny, like, but I'm realizing he was always putting little subliminals in movies, even in Shrek. Like, Shrek is a great freaking movie. Like, it's a great movie. Great movie. Like, with the messages he be putting in there, they're great. Anyways, let's get back to Zeus and Niagara Falls. All right, so Greeks receive sacrifices at Olympia. This is meaning, hold on. This is the morning. All right, this is the morning when Zeus is honored with the sacrifice of 100 oxen. The ox. Who's that tied down to? I know it ties to Zeus, but it's something else. But look, I'm just I'm gonna just read this and stop interrupting myself. All right, so this is the morning when Zeus is honored with the sacrifice of 100 oxens given by the people of Elis, the city responsible for the games of a Olympia. At Olympia, there were hundreds of altars at the Olympias, with the most remarkable being the great altar of Zeus. Each where 100 oxen were sacrificed to the god of each Olympic festival. Zeus' birthplace, Mount Lycaon, Lycaon, Lekion. Yo, that kind of looked like leaking, but just in like another form. And that deals with the shapeshifter during a certain type of moon and a certain type of energy coming from the sun, because that's where it gets its energy from anyway. So Mount Lycaon, Lycaon is the early is the earliest known site where the omnipotent god was worshipped. 10,000 animals, mainly goat and sheep, were slaughtered in his honor. In fact, the mountaintop is basically a mound of the animal ashes combined. The festival and games were held in Olympia, a rural sanctuary site in western Peloponnesus. Peloponnesus. Why did I write it like that? The Greeks that came to the sanctuary of Zeus and Olympia shared the same religious beliefs and spoke the same language. For ancient Greeks, blood was a magical elixir. Centuries later, see Marsilio Ficino similarly promoted drinking young blood as a mean for the elderly to regain their youthful vigors. Blood transfusion itself infused with brutality and legendary. Five rings represents the five continents and the meeting of the athletes from throughout the world. The five continent, remember, was a branch of present day Africa connecting the puzzle. Okay, so I don't see how why I don't see why I named this shit Niagara Falls. Like, look, I really had a download going on. It was a while ago, like 2021, and then I started. But like, so I guess that being said, and common sense would kind of make sense to Niagara Falls being a delta, dealing down this big ass spring. Um, yeah, there might be some sacrifices taken, and uh, like, wow. Then that's part of Canada too, right? Or like going into Canada. Like that has to go. There has to be some type of cave in that bitch that goes somewhere, bro. This is how I know I seen it, cause it just feels like I'm getting goosebumps, bro, thinking about this shit. Like y'all heard like cloning facilities and shit. Like, wow, bro, this is starting to make sense, bro. Wow, that's crazy. So Niagara Falls, sus. That's all I'm gonna say. Sus as hell. Well, just leave that as that. Yeah. What else is in here? Uh, it'd be kind of cool if my pages didn't get wrecked out, because I had a lot of Gematria. Um, like this one says a micron reptoid. Uh, Hef. Hehetle. Hihito? The fuck? I'm sorry for the language. Look, let me show you. Like, it says face Rockefeller. This is a legal tender for all that's public and private. So that's dealing with citizenship. This is a legal tender. A micron? Hmm. Do y'all know what a micron mean? I don't know if I said it enough. Because it's really a big download because it explains. Oh, my bad. It explains everything that's going on with that. All right, so because it's something called Xenobots and everything. You know what? Let's just let's just show what a Xenobot is. It's actually kind of early, but it's not natural. It's not natural at all. It manipulates the natural. It manipulates the cycle within you, dealing with your cells, because your cells are like the stars or like the atoms in the air. For real, for real. All right, so let's see if we can find Xenobot. They're probably gonna flag my shit like they always do. See, with the X is the feminine version. You're dealing with Greek and Latin. Same pronunciation, different letter. It's like C and K. Yeah, that junk was just eating. I was like, it eating like cells, which is paralysis. It's called lysis, but the para mixed with the lysis makes paralysis. And it seems like they play with those two words a lot. Um, the age of biological robots. Oh, bruh. I need World News Report version because he kept it a little authentic at that time. Shout out James Coffin, World News Report. You want to catch some news, daily news? Check them out. Well, they wanted their money for their advertisements. You can't skip nothing.
You're looking at the first living robots, and now they're able to You're looking at
this is what a Xenobot is. Hold on, let me show you where you can look this video up for yourself.
Never seen before in
all right,
plants
all right,
or
all right.
animals. Xenobots are formed from the stem cells of the African clawed frog. They are computer designed, hand assembled organisms.
Low key is different animals. Like pretty much everything that they name. Yeah. And then that tied down to different ones all over the world. So then that tied to I forgot what I was about to say. That ties to how it becomes an uncontrollable mutation because of the animal fetus, right? Because disease and sicknesses come from animals, and ingesting it and breathing in epoxy dust it pretty much feeds the parasite, will feed the atom, right?
Less than a millimeter wide. Senior scientist at Tufts University and Harvard University, Douglas Blackiston, says the way they reproduce.
Right, once that T cell links up with your carbon and hydrogen links, is pretty much tetracovalent bonds that are associated with creating light. So when they're being separated, it's not really creating light. When there's not a flow flowing through the body, it's not really creating light, because that's what energy does. It creates light. So the key is blood flow. That's why when like stretching and all that, breath work, eating well, all of that consists to blood flow. Grounding, receiving sunlight, that ties to your nervous system, right? It builds up a charge. And when you have a higher built charge with the understanding, then your cells do not die. right? It's a mental, physical, spiritual thing, metaphysics.
Zues has only been seen before in
So I have
molecules,
to
never in
use your
cells or
cells for it to
organisms.
work.
It's called chematic replication. The hand-assembled organisms swim around, gathering hundreds of single cells together and assembling them in their Pac-Man-shaped mouth. Within a few days, the xenobots can grow to full size. Michael Levin was a co-leader of the study and says the cells have the genome of a frog, but freed from becoming tadpoles, they use their collective intelligence to do something astounding. Researchers believe this technology could eventually be used to carry medicine inside human bodies, clean up radioactive waste, or collect microplastics in the oceans.
That's what they say. But the thing is, they already have things. They already have the cure for cancer and everything. There's people curing cancer, HIV, just with natural herbs. Like they study natural herbs and then make a drug from it. We're not making drugs from it. We got to be making uh healing healing potions from it. Like just combinations of a rainbow. Because combinations of a rainbow unlocks the rainbow within you, so it alkalines to certain chakras. So like, say your root is red, it connects to red fruits and red vegetables and shit. So like, it's the same thing for the orange, dealing with the stomach, and the yellow and all that. It helps give a charge to that area so it can produce a, a flow.
Katie Johnston for CBS 2 News. Wouldn't it be great if you can manage and read your mail when away on business, on vacation, or abroad? Want to know exactly what's in your P.O. box without calling?
Yeah. All right. So that being said, it mutates as the cycle rises. You haven't heard anything about anything new really since after Omicron. It's dealing with a rising cycle. Once, because 2021, we actually experienced 6G already. It was 5 and 6D. That's when you saw all the calamities, like dealing with China and all that area, like in that area. Now they're about to experience some more shit because the gates are opening, right? So the reactant of this xenobot is light and heat. Is light and heat. Because really the cells activate itself through light and heat. But if the cell became an AI and was thinking it was going to react itself to light and heat, it doesn't have any cells to operate with because the cells are not operating like they usually do with itself. So that means a lot of them are dying, not as a mutation. They're not growing as a mutation or reproduction. That's why they say a lot of reproduction or fertility is getting cut because the cells aren't reproducing. That's part of the reproduction. Feel me? That's what gets created, the energy. So like, like, what on it about Russia detained and boycott? What was posted in the cage is full. Hold on, bro. Hold on. A Micron, Reptoid, FL Face, David Rockefeller. This is a legal tender for all debts, public and private. On it about Russian detained in Bangkok. What what picture was posted in cages full? Monkeys? Because once it heats up your blood and it's toxic, it heats up your melanin, which could make a monkeypox reaction. That's why the garlic helps, kills parasites. Um, you gotta kill all the parasitical invaders. You feel me? Who wants to deal with parasites? Um, Cause is sarco is a combining form used like a prefix meaning flesh, often used in medicine, which is drugs, and biology, which is the study of life and nature, and especially pathology, which deals with the pathological blood destruction. Sarcoma, sarco being in the word SARS-CoV-2, sarco is the prefix which is used in various words to describe something, right? Most of the time dealing with flesh. So sarcoma is any of the various malignant tumors composed of neoplastic cells resembling embryonic connective tissues. A malignant tumor originating from mesodermal tissues such as fat, muscle, or bone, compare carcinoma. Sarcolactic acid is an isomeric form of lactic acid produced by the muscle tissue during an anaerobic metabolism of glucose, sugar. As the sarcolactic acid liberated in the muscles is not oxygenated, a condition of acidosis is issued. So a lot of people is getting that little pain behind their leg. So above, so below. Where is where is the point where higher the light and the dark energy in the body come together? The point in the middle of that is the heart. So anything below the heart is a reflection of anything above the heart. Okay. So how I'm gonna say this. It's like your throat, right? Your throat chakra is actually one of the powerful chakras. That's why they're attacking your respiratory system and yeah, your respiratory system. That deals with the air you breathe. Like the thing about your throat chakra is it's a chakra that actually opens up portals within and outside of you, low key. If you were to reach that, it's like how you can get to nirvana type shit. But like, I think I went to nirvana or like a Buddha type thing. Like everything was green, like really green. Um, it's weird. It's like niggas is like, look, a lot of this science they're using is actually like something dealing with gold, because the cycle actually deals with creating gold. So it makes sense of how we're in a golden age dealing with a cycle that creates gold. But if it creates gold, creates what? Melanin. Um, Carbon is a tetracovalent, but carbon-free radicals. Uh, oh, there you go. Okay, xenobots. This is how the paralysis is proven or why. Using their words and definitions, it ties down to lysis, right? But lysis has homolysis and heterolysis. I didn't, but that's kind of like self-explanatory because homo means same, hetero means different, and most I think hetero is like a mutation gene, right? Because the homologous deals with the X. All right, let's get back to this. So homolysis, which means loosening, or homolytic fissions, is a chemical bond dissociation of a molecular bond by a process where each of the fragment, which is an atom or molecule, retain of the original bond's electrons. During homolytic fissions of a neutral molecule with an even number of electrons, two radicals will be generated. That is, the two electrons involved in the original bond are, if dis- distributed between the two fragment species. Oh, it's like everything I like to drink, bro. Like for 7-Eleven products, this was actually some good water. But they changed up the minerals in it. Like at first, you used to have like Himalayan salt and some more stuff. Now I got some shit. So keep your windows closed because that's why you hear me like. But that clears up real quick. You just grab some fruit, smash on it real quick. It don't gotta be a lot, but the berries clears up really fast, especially pineapples. So look, all right. So during homolytic fission of neutral, look, it ain't shit to watch on YouTube. That's really what I'm doing right now. So look, so look, during homolytic fission of a neutral molecule with an even number of electrons, two radicals will be generated. That is, two electrons involved in the original bond are distributed between two fragment species. The energy involved in the process is called bond dissociation energy, which is BDE. Bond cleavage is also possible by a process called heterolysis. Bond dissociation energy is defined as enthalpy per mole required to break a given bond of a specific molecular entity. Homolysis symbolized as capital letter D. The bond association energy is dependent on the strength of the bond, which is determined by the factors relating to the stability of the resulting radical species. Because relatively high energy requires to break down a bond in this matter, homolysis occurs primarily under certain conditions. Those certain conditions is these two circumstances right here: light and heat. This is why I say you need to be cleaning your goddamn body out. Because the light and the heat is the kicker. I don't know if you can read that, but that's why. These are real definitions. Okay? So niggas don't be feeling like I'm capping. It's real definition. Most of these words be words I don't even be using. Like this one right here. Like I don't be using these words. So if I get to stutter on and stuff, yeah, my bad. But if you can see it or hear what I'm trying to say, then yeah. Because this is what I say, the fentanyl, you see dye, right? And if you look at that video I just made not too long ago with that breakdown where that dye, it has that meaning, right? Benzo deals with benzos, like drugs like Xanax, that deals with approxalam. The approxalam makes you forget, right? So if it's making you forget, that's dealing with your RNA, DNA, right? And then the Zol is the fentanyl, and the fentanyl kills red blood cells. Peroxide, dibenzol peroxide is cleaved homolytically distributed. I can't read it looking at it this way. Homolytically distribution, a radical to be benzo benzoyloxy. It's kind of ties to epoxy because the air that we're breathing in when it's clouded up from all them chemtrails that be in the air, that creates epoxy dust. So when people say, "Oh, it's just my sinuses," it's because that epoxy dust, which seems like pollen, is actually trapped in your mucus. So that being said, that causes respiratory and it causes respiratory issues and that cause allergic issues because of the mucus that's trapped in your body. The way to get rid of it is to reverse your your genetics back by eating what you're connected to by your genetics, which is planetary diets, electrical foods, because electrical foods actually bring a charge back. Like your cells only die because you're not eating a charge, not the type of charge you need to be eating, right? It's like dealing with the animals and stuff that just dealt with a dream state because when you be having a lot of energy, you just be up. So I dealt with rituals and shit. Like, cause once you think about it, bro, when you're a light body being dealing with light, nothing that's dealing with meat and shit ties to your cycle. Maybe if you cook it alive, but like, no, bro. Like even like some seafoods be good, but like now that I've been like seeing difference, it's like kind of like no, bro. Like light body food need light food, foods that generate light. So when you have certain fruits, you can plug that bitch up and to make the light bulb actually come on because it's electrical, it's radioactive, it's nuclear. You feel me? So when you're trying to tap into an energy like that, that's what you need to be consuming because that's what your cells do. They create light. It creates because when it creates bonds and the cells keep reproducing itself without dying, it generates growth, light, agility, speed, and telepathy. Well, I mean clairvoyance. Like everything becomes a natural thing. So I'm saying like a lot of people try to use voodoo or like magic like these niggas be doing to try to gain divinity, bruh. And like, I mean, I guess it's certain rituals you do. That's something I don't have nothing to tie down to. I mean, mine's is in the ethers. Feel me? That was a whole different thing. And it seems like some Black Panther shit. When he was being raised into a king, he was going to the dream state and he was going and doing what he was doing in the physical. Kind of like the Avatar too. It's like a learning stage, a reminder of who the fuck you are. But you see it in the other realm. So you can manifest it into the physical. Because once you remember it, it becomes a memory of this is what I can do. It's not a memory of this is what I can't do. It's a memory of me knowing that I just actually did this shit somewhere else and now I'm here doing it. That's what they're scared of memory. Because it expresses itself into manifestation. It's like martial arts. It's the same thing as uh, dancing. It's the same thing. It's part of the real martial law, not the shit that they got going on. And it's really supposed to be the natural law because it's dealing with natural uh, creations. So martial arts should really be natural arts, right? Or nature arts or nature art. Hold up. Like, but yeah, for real, it should be nature arts or universal arts. I'm gonna end this with something Bruce Lee said about the expression.
When you're talking about fighting as rules, you gotta train every part of your body. And when you do a punch, now leaning forward a little bit, hoping not to hurt any camera angle. I mean, you gotta put the whole hip into it and snap it and get all your energy in there and make this into a weapon. When you're talking about fighting,
Oh no, man. My bad, guys.
This is how Bruce Lee died while
That's how my body go. Little nigga, still big though.
This is Miles here. If you're listening close today, and I'm going to get my procedure done. I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. The water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Don't slow down. You're chosen. No stopping, no. Did you just say ping pong? Oh my God. My man should have playing ping pong with nunchucks. I have never seen this before. Why am I just seeing this? I had to see this. You got the Kill Bill outfit on. Damn, bro. I was about to order some nunchucks the other day. I want to get nice with them. Okay, I'm doing some type of inside. Trying to find a light, yeah, fucking everything. It's good, yeah, I don't know everything. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to get a pain. I don't want to be out here saying, you gotta go on my shoulder, some hoes.
Well, if I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm
the
bullshit.
hoes. They some trolls.
But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying.
What is the hoes?
Donde tu dirección de envío se escribe por sí sola.